All right, folks, we had a few fights fall out and change since the last video. I was out of town, so here we are. We're back for UFC Vegas 108 again, and I'm going to cover the two fights that are new on the card and then also the one fight that somehow didn't make the video. I don't know what happened on the editing, but stick around. Let's break down those three fights. I'll see you in the first. Austin Bashi remains on the card for the 145-pound matchup. Francis Marshall is out. We've now got Yannis here. Yannis is 4-1 in his last five, much like Austin Bashi. Now, both of these guys have, similar kind of regional level experience prior to the UFC. Bashi now making his sophomore outing in the UFC. Yannis obviously taking this on short notice, so there is that to account for. When we look at Yannis, we're going to start over there. His striking, solid. Mostly boxing. His kicks are just kind of like, they're every now and then, but the boxing is where it's at, right? Solid boxer. Good counter striking. He's got a very active jab. Something I really like is that he doubles and triples up the lead hand. So maybe it's like a jab 3 or something like that, or he'll, throw his lead hand multiple times before hitting the rear hand. And the reason that's important is because you can really get a guy circling a certain way by forcing them to only react to one side type of thing. But it just keeps something coming at him from that lead hand, setting up that power shot. So he'll use the lead hand and just keep moving their guard with his shots to set up that rear shot. So because the rear shot's usually the power shot. So there's that. Puts together good combinations. He works the body pretty well. He's not landing big power shots. He's not like one shot, just drop these guys, but he's just adding up over time with the cumulative volume, combinations, things like that. And he does a really good job with it. Striking defense is pretty good too. He keeps the hands up and, he moves his head pretty well. It's MMA with small gloves. There's only so much defense you can really have as far as blocking goes because you can't block everything. But he does a pretty good job, because of, his ability to box well in the MMA. He's got the hands moving, or the head moving, and the hands up high for the most part. Rolls with punches when he does get hit. So you like to see that. His problem, though, the reason that he is a big underdog in this fight is the takedown defense. He does struggle to create space once he's on the mat. We've seen even in fights he's won that he's been taken down and controlled for periods of time. And if you are to beat the guy, the way to do it is to take him out of his comfort zone in the boxing range and get him to the mat and hold him down on the mat. Now, when we look at Austin Bashi, he's a pretty good striker of his own right. I would say he's not quite as clean, especially in the boxing, as someone like Yannis, but he does have some pretty good kicks, especially the front kick. He will also feint the takedown and come up with that lead hook, something I really like for him, and he'll keep his hands up, right? So good things you like to see. But the grappling is where he gets it done. He's a solid grappler with good takedowns. He's got a variety of options, and he'll chain them together. Those are things you like to see. He advances position well, particularly likes to take the back. Another thing is with his cage push, he'll either get the takedowns up against the cage or just take your back standing. So if he can get to your back, which is what he generally wants to do, that's him achieving his goal that round, right? He can work from there, start looking for submissions, things like that. He's very opportunistic with the submissions. He's not forcing anything. He'll take what you give him. He's happy to just control your back. He's happy to just stay there and do what he needs to do. But if you give him the option, he'll take the submission. Now, we've seen Yannis get his back taken by Aguirre multiple times in his most recent outing. Now, that's not a bad look per se on the regional scene because especially Yannis got the TKO later in that fight, round 4, I think it was. But he did have his back taken multiple times. I think in all 3 of the first 3 rounds, at some point or another, his back was taken. Bashi's a little higher level than Aguirre, but at the same time, Yannis was doing great work on the feet. So it's not like Yannis is lost in this one. It's a closer fight than I think the odds maybe suggest, but I do think that there's a lot that favors Austin Bashi in this fight. I'm going to take Austin Bashi. I think he can get the fight to the mat. I think he can take the back. And I think regardless of whether or not he's able to get the finish, I think he's able to control Yannis once he gets the fight down. And I think he'll have more success on the feet than someone like Nick Aguirre did. So we're taking Austin Bashi. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next fight. All right, not sure how this one didn't make the first cut. I recorded it once before. I had to delete that for space on the video or on the memory card. So either way, we're recording it again and putting it on this one. We've got Duncan taking on Mateusz Rebecki. Rebecki is 4-1 in his last 5. Same for Chris Duncan. Both guys 4-1. This is a good fight. I think these guys are pretty comparable in skills, so I think it's a competitive fight. Now, for Rebecki, a decent striker with good forward pressure, good power, heavy leg kick. A lot of things to like as far as that goes, but not super refined. He's definitely not putting together like beautiful combinations or anything like that at this point. But, decent. He has a lot of things to like. Good grappler as well. Good takedown defense. I think that's going to serve him well here. He has good takedowns and good top pressure. That could serve him well here. He's very powerful in grappling positions. The guy's kind of like a bowling ball, right? And he can just kind of go do what he needs to do, and he's strong enough to muscle his way through positions that might not be ideal for him, and he competes at a high pace. Sure, he slows down a bit towards the end because he's at such a high pace, but we've usually seen him be able to fight through that fatigue. Carlos Diego Ferreira he's a tough fight for anybody. We saw him kind of get beat up there in that one loss that he has in the last 5. But outside of that, he's been able to fight through any fatigue by fighting at a high pace even and still being powerful in a lot of positions. On the other side, for Chris Duncan, he's a decent striker. Got a pretty good leg kick, pretty good power, and he's really good in a brawl. Sure, his striking defense is not great. That's for sure. But in a brawl, he's very opportunistic with his power shots. He's also opportunistic with his submissions. His grappling is good. Those opportunistic submissions, particularly his guillotines, have been getting him wins. He's won quite a few fights by guillotines, and in fact, I would say that Chris Duncan's guillotine is one of his more dangerous weapons, which is wild to me because guillotines just really shouldn't work so well at a high level here, because this isn't like a jiu-jitsu match, right? Hitting a guillotine in MMA is very tricky because there's just so many more things you got to deal with. First off, you got gloves that are making your hand bigger, harder to slip that hand through. It's easier for someone to get a head down. I understand you can still do it, this, that, and the other. Get out of here with your stupid comment. Also, there's no gi or anything. I know guillotines in a gi are hard anyway, but you don't have anything to grab onto to control guys. So when they're slippery, they're sweaty, they can just slip that head right out, especially if they're kind of balding, like a Rebecki is. Got a nice slippery head, right? So there's that as well. If you're in the guillotine and you're not quite going out, you can just hit them in the face. And sure, they can probably keep cranking on the guillotine, but maybe it loosens just a bit, So it's just hard to finish guillotines. Chris Duncan's been doing it. In addition to the guillotine, he does have other skills. He's got a pretty good cage push, good control there, and he's got decent takedowns. Ultimately, I see this fight being one of those where Duncan has a lot of really cool, interesting moments in this fight where you're like, oh man, this guy's almost got it. But Rebecki's just going to be hard to get out of there with the guillotine. I think what he does, Rebecki is able to defend the guillotines and end up on top. I think also he can get takedowns of his own and end up on top. Top time him for a bit. He could potentially get a KO, but he can also survive to a decision. So I'm going to take Rebecki. Oh, and then for anybody that's been asking about the run, it was supposed to be 20.5 miles. Ended up being a little over 21 miles. So that was wild through a trail. I placed 5th overall. There was 30 some odd people signed up for the run, and only 19 of us finished. So a lot of people didn't make it through. It was pretty rough. The terrain was brutal, which is why my time looked a little slow but I still got 5th. So it's like, oh, okay. It wasn't that I was running slow. This was rough. There were some huge hills. It was the ground was not very solid in certain spots, especially going up these hills. So, but yeah, 5th overall. I was pleased with it. I was super sore the next couple of days, but that's also why it's taking me so long to get these fights back up. But anyway, let's move on to the next fight. I'll see you guys there. All right, it's our new main event. This is a quick video, guys, so like the video. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We only got 3 fights. So for this one, Tatsuro Taira, he stays on the card. He's 4-1 in his last 5, coming off his only loss in the career to Brandon Royval, in which he had a pretty competitive 5-round matchup. He's taking on the undefeated, up-and-coming Hyun Park, who is 10-0, 5-0 in his last 5. He was originally scheduled for next week, and things change. Somehow, fights fall out, things happen, and he gets to bump up to the main event here against Taira. Now, Park was originally set to take on Steve Erceg, so still a high-level competitor. It's not like he's getting a massive jump up in competition. Both guys are, high-ranked competitors. But Park now does have to move his fight up a week, and he steps into a main event. For Hyun Park, he's a good striker with good combinations. He works the body really well, and he's shown some pretty good power. Now, it depends, though, because he doesn't always just send it on every punch. He'll pick his shots better and kind of, work with the volume or work with, maybe counter shots. It kind of depends on the fight, and he does a really good job of picking his game plan. His striking defense has been kind of lackluster in the past, but the dude recovers very fast. When you drop him, bounces right back to his feet, gets his wits about him quick. He doesn't seem out of sorts, or he doesn't take a long time to recover. When you hurt the guy, he's right back with it. So that's something you like to see. His grappling is good. Now, first off, we got to talk about this guy's media day. Oh man, that was rough to watch with some of the media members that had no idea who he was and were talking. I think one guy thought he was from Japan or something, which is, uncomfortable. That's all I got to say. But something that he revealed in his media day was that he's only a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. However, his grappling is pretty darn good. Dude's got slick trips, his back takes are there, and he's got a beautiful rear naked choke. I think the thing is, he said that he pretty much competes in no-gi when he's grappling, and that the belts just kind of don't come along. So it makes sense. I get it. Especially a lot of systems don't do belts in no-gi. I had that for many years, right? I was training MMA or whatever, so I do grappling for MMA. Essentially jiu-jitsu with strikes, but you don't get belts in jiu-jitsu for that, right? So I never leveled up in the belts until I started putting the gi on about a little over a year ago. So there you go. It's how it works. So similar situation for Park. But he is grappling. When you hear that he's a blue belt, you're like, no way. That's why. But either way, interesting stuff. Just wanted to point that out. The media day was really uncomfortable to watch, though. So if you're into that sort of thing, there you go. For Taira, he's a pretty good striker, and I think his grappling helps him set that up a lot, of course. His takedown feint into a flying knee that he's done a couple of times is beautiful, and it's wonderful because he'll fake like he's going for it and then just fly up into that knee. Now, that takes a lot of athleticism. If you don't believe me, try it right now in your living room or wherever you may be watching this. It's tricky. It is tricky to do because if you want to feint like you're going for that takedown and you get low, to then come up with enough explosion to get up to the head, or even if they're getting ready to sprawl, it's a long way up, and you have to really have explosive legs. He's got good long straights. He's got a long wingspan for flyweight, and he's got a pretty good calf kick. In the grappling, this is where he gets it done. We saw that in the Royval fight. When he gets you to the mat, you are in trouble. Sure, Royval survived, but Taira was able to just rack up control time. He's got good takedown entries, and he'll hide them with his strikes, which is something you like to see. He's got a good body lock. The control is there. He works to advance position, takes the back, and once he gets to your back, that's it. He will take the subs. He'll look for the subs, and he's very quick to attack when he finds that opportunity. There's a lot of things to like about both guys here. I think on the feet, I got to give even though both guys are like pretty good strikers, I give the edge to Park. I think he's a little bit better striker. But when it comes to the grappling, there's no way you don't give it to Taira. Now, we could be proven wrong, but from what we've seen, you got to give it to Taira. So it comes down to where I think this fight ends up. And I think if Taira was able to do those things on the mat to a guy like Royval, I think he's able to do the same things to Park. On the feet, Taira survived against Royval. I think he can survive against Park on the feet, so I've got to take Taira. But I do think Park is live. I mean, the guy's undefeated for a reason, but Tatsuro Taira is the real deal, and I think that loss is actually only going to help him improve. I think he's the side. Let me know what you guys think. My marker just fell off the board. I don't know what happened there. I'll see you guys soon. We've got more videos coming out in no time since this is already Thursday, but see you there.